porch, I usually do coleus. It gets a lot of shade, and so coleus does really well here. I also planted, as you can see, sweet potato vine, and then on the left is a mini tunia, a Vista mini tunia, petunia, and I think those do better for me than calabrachia. I've learned this year calabrachia are very sensitive to overwatering, and so it's probably something I'm going to avoid going forward because of my watering techniques. I thought this would look really pretty with, orange pumpkins in the fall. Usually we get a frost before Halloween, so that will take care of all of these annuals, but for at least early fall, I think it'll be a pretty setting. Then I had compact sun patiens in the front, the pink ones, and in the past, so they haven't grown as big as what I'm used to, which is kind of disappointing. Next year, the coleus does well here too, but I would like to do maybe just more of a purple variety, something that provides more contrast with the lime green of the false cypress. Perennial salvia, I cut it back this year, and it's doing its second flush of blooming. More coleus and impatiens. That one is on a drip line but needs supplemental water. And then I have white and pink begonias here that have done pretty well. One of the things I learned this year from we did several garden tours, and the one garden tour we did, they mentioned that had huge impatiens, and he fertilizes them 3 times a week with a water-soluble fertilizer. So I have not been nearly that diligent, but apparently that is a big key to success with annuals. I have urns in front of my garage that get a lot of sun. The Euphorbia Diamond Frost has done well. The tricolor sweet potato vine is fabulous. It's trying to sneak its way into the garage, my husband said, because it's cooler in there. And then again, another coleus, I'm not sure of the variety. Yeah, and then geranium mountain pink. And again, I think that needs a lot of fertilizer to maintain its bloom. So got things packed in here, but for me, this is looking pretty good for a late summer container. On the side of the garage, I have containers with zinnias that I planted from seed. They are California Giant and Giant Cactus, and then I also plugged in some of my extra coleus. I think those are Albrido and marigolds that are bonanza mix. I get a vase full of flowers from these zinnias every week, so they've been doing really well for me. My volunteer celosia, that does really well. It comes up and expands every year. It just kind of comes through. We have a mulch cloth under the rocks, and it just comes up every year through the mulch cloth somehow. Just going over here to some of my other container plants. This is another container that's done well for me. I'm not sure that might be Alligator Alley. I'm not sure on the coleus or the tunia at this point, the Vista mini tunia. And then I also have fan flower in there that looks like it got a bit overwhelmed. So one of the other lessons I've learned this year, I bought this candy corn bush earlier this year to put in the garden. I had to have some things moved first, and so I transplanted it to a bigger pot, and it's been doing really well. Another combination of coleus and salvia that's done well. And then I have urns back here. I have a boxwood in here, impatiens, verbena, and dichondra, silver falls, and they don't have a lot of dirt. I do have to water them pretty well every evening, but I love the way that looks. The boxwood hopefully will get a little bigger and be a little more prominent. Hopefully I'll make it over the winter. This will be my first year trying that. Another coleus and petunia mix. This is coleus is Color Blaze Wicked Witch, Super Petunia Vista Bubblegum, and then Super Petunia Raspberry Rush, and another a kind of creamy yellow lantana in there. So that's doing super well. I do try to feed these. I do try to feed them at least once a week. This pot, we had a lot of rain this year compared to most years, and this sits on the edge of my patio, and sometimes it gets water, sometimes it doesn't, but it got a lot of water, and I think just the weight of the water on the leaves, it tipped over and broke some of it off. But it's really, I think, I love coleus. It just looks so pretty, and it's pretty carefree for me. And this is a disappointment. We were on vacation in June, and I asked the cat sitter to water my plants, and you know, that's not what they're experts in, and it either got too much water or not enough, and it just hasn't looked the same since then. So I don't know if I'll get another flush. I cut it back, hoping to get another flush of flowers here in the fall, but that's like a queen tut grass, I believe. It wasn't labeled, it was a drop-in, and then I have little buds on this, so hoping maybe we will see some more flowers here soon, because it was really a pretty container. Then going down the back, I'm sorry, it's 7 a.m. in the morning and someone is mowing the grass. I don't know, maybe they're doing it before they have to go to work or something. No, it looks like it's a professional people. I am going to the back of the yard first, because that will explain why we did a lot of what we've done this year. If you watched my earlier tour, I mentioned we had a dead tree in the backyard, and it had dropped a huge branch into this tree that's kind of leaning to the right. So we have been waiting for the tree trimmers to come and cut those things down before we did a lot of moving plants back here, because they brought their heavy machinery through here. They did, and then the trees themselves, as they dropped the branches, fell on some of the things that were back here. So we're trying to keep this area empty until they did their work, and they just came a little over a week ago. So now we can, once the weather cools off for good, we'll start moving plants again. So I have this. I asked them just to cut it partially down for the wildlife. They don't think that's going to be a benefit for the wildlife, but I probably will put a trellis here with coleus, or not coleus, clematis or something growing up it. But this is one of the plants we moved. We moved our juniper from the front of the garden to the back here, and it's been doing well. I would like, and then we're going to move another one back here. They spread slowly, but quite a bit, so I think that'll be a nice barrier between this natural area by the creek. We moved several of our, I believe these are Francis Williams hostas, split them and moved them. That one looks kind of rough. I think it gets a little too much sun here. I don't remember what seed and variety that is. This is the second year in this spot for the, I'm not going to remember what that is. So, it's doing well. Smoke bush is doing well. It had blooms earlier this year. This was a grass area, and it was hard to cut, so we are going to make this all back garden area. So this is not very exciting right now because we just haven't, we've been waiting for the tree trimmers to come through so we can do the work back here. I had several coral bells that were struggling, and so I dug them up. I'm sorry, heuchera. I dug them up and put them in pots up on my patio with some good dirt and, you know, a lot of water, and they really bounced back. I called it my heuchera hospital, and they really bounced back. So that's one that I just replanted out here since the tree trimmers are done. Moved Hansel and Gretel back here. This is one of my hostas that really took a beating with the tree trimmers being there. So I'm hoping that comes back. Another hosta. Beautyberry bushes. I love beautyberries. Magnolia is looking really well this year. Like I said, we've gotten a lot more water. So this is an area that I will definitely work on next year, filling it out. Okay, now they're doing the blower. I think this is an Empress Wu hosta back here. So we have, these are two of the Francis William hostas we split. You can see they're doing really well. They get a lot of shade. I've given them a lot of supplemental water. So hopeful about that. A lot of people asked about my cloches when I showed this before, and these chicken wire ones and the bamboo ones I get from Gardener's Supply online. And I've had big trouble with rabbits this year. So this is ghost fern, and we saw these plant labels on one of our garden tours, and they come from a company nearby, Kincaid something. And so they're made in Missouri, and I got the medium strength ones, and I could have really gotten away with the lighter duty ones, I think. And then I do want to spray paint these black so they're less visible. During Amazon Prime Day, I was going to order some more cloches because the rabbits have been awful, and came across this company, which I'll have to scroll here. They're not the same quality as Gardener's Supply. They're narrower, but for smaller plants, they do the job. This is not going to be a small plant. This is my Sum and Substance hosta, which you can see the rabbits got to. Another beautyberry, Japanese Hakanakloa coleus, another coleus that has gotten a little waterlogged and broken off in places. Empress Wu. We'll probably extend this back a little bit. We're getting close to the edge of our yard here, and so probably extend that garden back later this year or next. This is our latest project. We put in edging around this bed. This was actually 3 beds that we combined into one, and so my husband wants me to put in some more ground cover, so I put in some ajuga back here, and this will spread. This is a new variety to me, but when I went to the garden center, this was all they had available, and I'm not sure where the plant tags went for that. Autumn Frost hosta. In addition to rabbits, we've also had raccoons. I had a beautiful pot of begonias, but they were falling over, so I put them in the ground, and then next couple of days when I came out, something had dug them mostly up. I think because the ground was soft, they go in there for grubs, and I know we have raccoons. I'm thinking it's probably a raccoon. So one of the viewers recommend I try an autumn brilliance fern because I like ferns, and it is doing really well. Thank you. I want to plant more of these. They're beautiful. I added the Abiqua drinking gourd, Japanese painted fern, another autumn frost hosta. You can see how badly the rabbits have chewed on this. Curly fries frost hosta. And what is back here? Oh, that's another fern. I don't know if it's the rabbits chewed on that crested surf. I don't know if the rabbits chewed on that, or we also have slugs. Silver beacon, the rabbits got that right away. I was really excited. I came back here about a week ago. I come back in the evening to water the plants, and there I saw an owl in the backyard, and I noticed there weren't any rabbits. So that happened a couple of days in a row, and I was hopeful that the rabbit problem had been taken care of. So I took the covers off a lot of my plants so I could enjoy them, because you know you can't see the flowers and things with these cloches over them as well. And then the next evening I came out, and there were 3 rabbits in a clump, and a couple of my plants had been chewed, so I had to put the cloches back on. And then didn't hear the owl that day, but came out again 2 nights ago, and it was out here and hooting, so I wish he'd hang around more, he or she. That's a 9-bark red rover dogwood that I just trimmed. Another pot that was kind of falling over, so I went ahead and put it in the ground. That's impatience. And then, caladium. And then another heuchera. I love my heuchera. I hope it does well. Another small garden bed over here. Lungwort, that's what I was trying to think of. This lungwort was more in the sun, and he was not doing well, so I moved it here and then put in this coleus from one of my pots, and it's doing really well, so I think that'll do well here. Hans hosta, which is another one the rabbits have really chewed on. I have inadvertently bought 2 kinds of lungwort for back here. I haven't got their sign made yet, but one of these is pink-a-blue, and you can see these 2 are the same. I think these are the pink-a-blue, and then the spots on the leaves are just a little bit different. Another bed of hostas. These are wee hostas. Little bird bath bed. I have mouse ear hostas, which sometimes the rabbits will leave the dark green ones alone, but not this one. So it does have a tiny little sprout coming up. I'm sorry, that one isn't mouse ears. I'll have to look up what that one is. This is a variegated mouse ears. So the little tree on the left was one I had in my urns at my other house, and we moved it here and planted it. And so it's doing well. It's a cute little tree. Jack Frost euphorbia. I don't know. That might be pilgrim hosta. Another heuchera. And then this is some ajuga that's spread and has done really well. And then I did transplant designer jeans hosta over here because it was just not doing well in its previous location. That's apparently the one that the rabbits find very tasty. Back here, more hostas. I'll try to track down what variety they are and label them next year. Joe Pye weed. I think they're knockout roses. That is a hydrangea that's not doing super well. Another one of our transplanted Francis Williams hostas. Has some new leaves. I think they'll look really pretty next year. This is in Astilbe. I have had trouble growing Astilbe, so I only bought one, and this one is so far doing well. This is Delft Lace. So that makes me hopeful for next year. I'd love to see a little small grouping of the astilbe here. Another hosta that was chewed by rabbits. A butterfly bush. A hydrangea that is a panicle hydrangea, I think. Can't remember quite the name. I'll have to look that up too. And I'm going to be getting into the sun here. This is my holly bed, some more creeping jenny that I'm planting for ground cover. Some Lenten roses. These are Frost Kiss Anise Red. And then, let's see, this one is Angel Falls hosta. Oops, I might gain on that. Angel Falls. Another heuchera. Rainforest that I moved from another area back here. And then I just transplanted this one. I had it in a pot, Echo the Sun. Over here, I did have the Hansel and Gretel statues here. Just moved them back. This is another plant that a lot of people grow easily, but I have trouble with. This is Monarda. And Leading Lady Plum, and it is doing pretty well here, so I'm hopeful that one will come back. These are trees that we did not plant. These were here, and when our gardener came and cleared things out back here, he left these two. So I'm gonna go to the front of the yard, or the front of this lawn garden up here, and this is what I see from the house. So this is what has had the most attention this year. Some limelight. I have a row of limelight hydrangeas. That was one of the first things we planted, and I've left those in here. But this, I had the Francis William hostas here, 4 Francis William hostas, 4 Tony asters, and it just looked kind of blah. Everything was the same color, the same size. And so my goal for this whole long garden is to have plants that I continue throughout this area to bring continuity, and then repeating colors. And you know, I know some garden design says you should always have groupings of 3 or more, but in the gardens I've looked at and really enjoyed this summer through Instagram and through YouTube videos like Moxie Garden. He gardens not far from here in 6A in Kansas, and I love his garden design. Instagram, there is Joy in the Garden, who is in Iowa, and you know, kind of the same kind of thing. They have like the same plants repeating for continuity, and it's just so pretty. So one of the other things I did is a lot of the plants I bought and had in pots, it was too much to keep up with the watering, so I put them in the ground. Well, I put them in pots based on how they look together, not necessarily how they went with the rest of the garden. So that was a mistake. So I would like to have more, just have that in mind next year, that whatever I put in pots, if I'm going to put in the garden, I want it to look like it was meant to go together. So I spread out. I had my sun patiens grouped together, and I spread them out, and I really like this violet color best. Then another coleus. So this is new, Cranesbill Max Fry. And then I wanted to bring the variegated color. I have that on the one side of the garden. I wanted to bring it to this side. And so I got Dogwood Sergeant Pepper. Allium is going to be one of my repeating pieces. And this is Millennial, I believe. And then I saw a garden that had a beautiful sedum in it, and I love sedum with the big flowers. This one's called Thunderhead. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere right now, but I think it'll be pretty next year. Salvia Moulin Rouge back there. This pot, my goal for these pots, the urn itself is too shallow, it doesn't drain, so I plant these in a clay pot, and I want the plants to spill over the edge so you don't see the clay pot, and that's what happened. This is fanflower, mini vistatunia, and then I threw in, I can't think what it's called in the back, but that I like the purple and the pink combination, and I like the touch of magenta. So my repeating things are going to be the allium, the heuchera in I think this is caramel, like the different shades of heuchera. Let's see, opening act blush phlox. I've never had agastache before, and now I have 3 this year, and I'm loving it. Blue boa, another island breeze hosta, and then I love that combination with that dark purple heuchera. You can see a lot of these heucheras are new this year. This one I think had been there, but most of the others are new. Pink, sparkler pink Angelina teacup. Something is eating the little succulents. I'm not sure if that's rabbits. Then they have a little variety of shape and flowers. We put in the hardy hibiscus. This is the only cotoneaster I left up here. I like the shape, but I just wanted to have a variety of color. I wanted to have more color up here as well. This is an autumn joy sedum that was struggling. It was getting, I think, too much shade, so I moved it here, and it's doing pretty well, although the leaves do get chewed by snails. And so this is, someone reminded me, I use Sluggo to get the slugs and the snails, but someone else reminded me you can also use crushed eggshells. So I've been trying that around a lot of my plants that they were eating, and that does seem to be working pretty well. Another coneflower, heuchera, catmint. Catmint is another one that I want to be a repeating element. I had my marigolds around the curve of my yard, and I've spread them out, and they seem to be getting eaten by something too. I know the people think that rabbits and things do not eat them, but I have seen rabbits eating marigolds. And so this is where I intend the candy corn spirea to go, but I needed to wait for the tree trimmers to get here to move this hydrangea out. So in the meantime, I had some plants on the screened-in porch that weren't, I think, getting enough sun, so I moved them back here. And then next day I came out and they'd been dug up. So I replanted them, and I sprayed them with something, an animal repellent my husband bought, and they haven't been touched since, so I think that's a good sign. Summer taffy, yarrow. The bunch on the back I had moved out. It was getting in an area where it was getting too much shade. The one on the right is a new plant, and then I've cut off the flowers, so they are not looking like much right now. And but I think that'll be a really pretty spray next year. This was an unintended thing. I'm not sure what variety coleus was. It was a bigger plant that was in a pot and put it here, and I love it. I just think it's so pretty. A little heuchera there. I don't know if this is weird. When I cut my zinnias that have kind of gone to seed, I put them back here for the birds. I don't know if they're eating them or not. So this is where I moved the cotoneasters. I thought they would be a nice kind of, because of their arching habit, soften the edge of the stone here that we have under the bird feeder. The rabbits have been eating on those too. They also eat my liope, my variegated liope. They like that a lot. More salvia. This agastache meant to be queen nectarine. Maybe it doesn't look like much, but I bet you we can see this from our bedroom window, and I've seen hummingbirds in it, so I love that. This Scatoniaster really struggled. I don't think I had watered it enough, but it has a lot of green leaves on it, and so I'm hoping, because of the green leaves, I'm thinking it's going to bounce back. And then this one also struggled. I put in, this is a viburnum Little Joe. It gets white flowers on it. It's supposed to be really attractive to animals and birds. And as you can see, I lost a lot of leaves, but it still has, I think it has enough green leaves that it'll come back. If not, I have a warranty on it. I planted, at the same time, I planted a hydrangea back here that's doing fine, so I don't know why. Ladies Mantle Thriller. These, let's see, that one I think it was here since last year. So some of these plants have been here since last year, so that's the cat mint I've had to cut back. The allium has been here. Proven Winner cherry truffles, these are new, and I ordered these directly from Proven Winners, and they really looked sickly when they arrived, but I got them in the ground right away and have been cutting back the leaves that don't look great, and they're doing great. And then I bought some more. I love autumn joy sedum, so I bought a couple from, they had them at Home Depot, and looking forward to seeing those blooming soon. This is another one of the junipers we want to move and just had to wait till the tree trimmers were here. Repeating allium. Veronica, I did not have Veronica, or didn't have any that survived before, so Purple Illusion. And now I have these, and I have some in the other garden too. I liked, oh, I don't know that I showed you. I have Cranesville Boom Chocolata that's doing really well. So I put one in here, and the rabbits chewed it down to about 2 leaves, so I had it covered, and it was coming back. And then a couple weeks ago we had 3 inches of rain in a week, and I think that did it. So that's why that's an empty spot. I'm not sure what kind of sedum I have going on here. If they don't kind of kick it up and do a little better, I'm going to get rid of them. These are Oxeye Daisies Bleeding Hearts that were looking just gorgeous. I think these are going to be really pretty with the dark kind of purple leaves and the orangey flowers with the Annabelle hydrangeas and what I have planned in the front. This is one I had uncovered to enjoy the flowers, and I don't know if that one's going to come back. That's one the rabbits got. Just over the rabbits this year. This is another one of my urn combinations. I think it has 2 kinds of mini Vista tunas, and this is really, I just love the way this looks. I'm very happy with how these turned out this year. That is a something halo dogwood. So that was kind of what I was hoping to replicate on the other side of the garden, so we'll see. Coneflowers, pink cone. I love coneflowers. You can see that one without the cloches getting chewed, and I just don't have enough cloches. So when my last order from Garden Supply, you can see these have an extension on the bottom to make them taller. So I need to order some more of those, I see. And then the coneflower sombrero lemon. I thought that would be a really pretty combination with the allium. So more heuchera. Lamb's ear is another thing I'm going to try to be one of my continuing elements in the garden. This is one I split from my current lamb's ear. Coreopsis, sizzle and spice ginger. if these all fill out like I'm hoping they do, it should be spectacular next year rather. And then if I just fill in with some other things. This is my other Veronica I added this year, Pink Potion. Got 3 plants of those. Hope Springs Eternal, which of course the rabbits got too. Another coneflower sombrero something. I moved some of this Lioropy, and it does much better over here. The rabbits were getting it, but I guess they're leaving it alone, and so it even has cute little blooms on it. So at the same time I planted that viburnum, I planted this bobo hydrangea, and it's been a trooper. Don't think it dropped a leaf. So I would like to put more of those in the back by the creek to kind of screen some of the weedy looking plants. Some salvia that I moved and has been mostly doing well. One died and I replaced it. I moved this from where it was more shaded. This is the lamb's ear that I took some, as it spreads, I took a little bit from that one. And then another hardy geranium, perennial geranium. Some flowers that were in other pots that I just kind of moved back here. This was supposed to be a dwarf marigold, but it's an overachiever. Another hosta that at this time of year it just gets too much sun, and they just don't look as great they do earlier in the season. Another heuchera. This is another one of my autumn joy sedums that, and then as you can see, this is just, I ran out of sluggo. You can just see what the slugs and snails do to my poor hosta when left untreated. This might be a Pinky Winky as I think about it. Pinky Winky hydrangea. You can see on the new one, the new bloom here, how fresh and pink and white it is. And then these are just have been here for a while. Burning bush starting to show a little color already. And then this is more of the garden that needs work. I have Russian sage over there. I have euphorbia, a birch tree, which it's apparently hard to grow things under a birch tree, so the euphorbia is maybe a good choice from there. This is another bush we need to move. I planted 3 false cypress back here. This one is right in front of a sprinkler, and you can see that's why I think it kind of is split that way, so we need to move that somewhere else. Overgelia, another spirea, salvia. This is another Augustaceae this is the first one I bought this year, and it's doing really well, Rosy Posy. And then in front of it's another kind of catmint, and I just didn't get it labeled yet. This is another tree that we had in our urns at the other house that we just brought here and planted. So kind of can't make up its mind if it wants to be, I guess, round or what shape it wants to be. Now this is some more area that needs work. I think I need to put some more dirt in here. I know the tree roots are just really bad here. I don't know if I need to put pots, but this is just an area I struggle with. I tried to give these daylilies more. I think these are like Stella de Oro. Tried to give them more water, and they just are struggling. And I have a couple butterfly bushes back here. This one is new this year and doing pretty good. This one is a returnee from last year, and it's a dwarf variety, and it's just not doing much. The roses we moved from the front of the house, and they're doing okay. I think I just need to trim them back next year and fertilize them more. But I'm thinking about putting Lioropy back here because that seems to be pretty hardy. That is actually a rogue variety that I brought back here and just kind of plunked it in here, and it's without any attention, it's doing fine. But I want to do something. And I don't know if I just have to resort to pots or if I can just build up the dirt. Will that hurt the tree roots? I'm not sure. So, you can see, I mean, to me it looks rough, but in my head I can see what it could fill out and become in the coming year or two, and that makes me very excited. Definitely learned a lot of lessons about what I want to do differently next year, and I think I've made a lot of progress this year, but I'm really excited about my plans for the coming year, and hopefully this little video will help me remember what my thought process was. Thanks for spending time with me, and appreciate your hints or comments about either rabbit or slug control or propagating or splitting hostas. But it's been a fun year.